Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to this Talking Towns Transfer Talk special following Ipswich Town signing Omari HUTCHINSON from Chelsea on a season-long loan with Howard, our captain, Sam Morsy, linked with Saudi Arabia or a host of clubs in Saudi Arabia. We've had Joe Pigott join the exclusive Mutual FC, and everything else in between. Obviously, this is just a transfer talk special, but we'll touch on a couple of other topics such as Town TV launching this evening, and we are live this Sunday for the last time in the evening at 7:45, myself and the media mogul. Before we go any further, if you would like to become a Talking Town Fifth Stander, that means to support the platform, you can do so by hitting the link in the chat or scanning. He says it without it being on the screen, but there you go. Scanning the QR code on your screen right now, that'll take you to where you need to get to. $4.99, cancel at any point. Great value, particularly considering the marketplace and some things that are $5.99. I think it's $5.99. Anyway, let's get cracking and welcome in my co-host for the evening. Is of course the man who's probably living in the land of St. Johnny of Best, the Cruncher, Richard Moss.
You're talking utter Kim.
He's all right, wasn't he, old St. Johnny of Bairstow?
Good old Johnny. He stuck a few fingers up to the old people saying he shouldn't be in the team. Anyway, Gov, this is a football podcast. We will be talking about cricket on Sunday at 9 p.m. Let's hope the weather holds a little bit, because it's not looking great for the weekend in Manchester, is it? So
it's the only thing that can save Australia is
the
weather, which is
definitely
something I thought I'd say, but there we go. Can it be 2-2? We'll find out. Join the team Sunday, where they'll be running down how the Ashes series finished. So let's start with Town TV before we go any further. Launched this evening. Finally, after weeks and months of people, wondering what's going on. Is it? Isn't it? Will it? Won't it? Well, it did. $5.99. And what are your first initial reaction thoughts to it?
Look, I think it's the times we're living in at the moment, Martin. Look, you've got to pay for your season ticket. If you want a membership, if you want to go away, you've got to pay for that £40. So $5.99 a month. I think Dino messaged me. It's about like 70 odd quid for the year. What do you get on there then? You get your interviews, you get your post and pre-match stuff, obviously from the studio. Under 21s games are on there. If I'm being honest, Martin, I won't be paying it because I'm busy as it is. So
you're not paying for. Wow.
But I just think you just keep paying and paying and paying. $5.99 in a minute. And look, if you want to watch a game in midweek, you've still got to buy
a tenner.
The match pass for a tenner. I think international, if you subscribe, I think it's $19.99 a month now, which I think is more expensive than it was. So look, I can see why they do it. It's look, we want to make money. It's a money-making exercise. It's like any football club, but you keep paying through the nose. Dino, there he goes. Look, he messaged me that earlier. So
yeah, Dino, just saying for those that are listening, just to say $71.88 a year isn't coming out of my pocket to see latest signings. That should be free for everyone to see, and I'd have thought they would have included midweek matches in the subs.
I do agree with that, because like you've seen like the Omari's first interview on there. Everyone should be able to see that. Kids, you've got kids who go online who their parents might not be able to buy $5.99. They're the next generation of fans, Gov. So I think stuff like that. Look, we'll see how it is moving forward. Obviously, Matt Holland's involved. But yeah, it's a no from me.
This is very similar. We'll go into more detail on Sunday evening show when obviously I've managed to catch up and actually.
Why would you pay $5.99 for that when you could pay $4.99 to become a fifth stander on it?
There you go. And we're going to do a transfer show anyway, so you're not going to miss anything other than hearing a player say how great the facilities are, the stadium is. Yeah, you can't wait to get going.
You're not really going to discover anything new that you didn't sort of already know. You might actually see the first glimpse of the blue carpet, possibly. Have you seen the blue carpet around the pitch?
In pictures, yeah, not in video
Looking
format.
very, very nice.
Mike Deal, new player interview should be free. But wasn't this something very? We had this a while ago, didn't we? Like Town Player or something that was sort of a five.
Yeah, that was a while. Blimey, that was back during the during the Evans era. That was a long while ago. Town Player. That was when it was Steve Greaves was the media guy then at Town.
That's right. They're in forums.
Look, it's improved massively. We have to give like Marcus a shout out and all his team. The content they put out is great. Now from what it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it doesn't mean that people are going to just continue to pay. I don't think it just means if you want to watch it, you'll pay. Fair enough, I get that, but
yeah,
you can. There's enough places to seek out content, Gov, without having to pay for it.
Yeah, a lot of people sort of echoing, what Dino and others have said, like Benjamin. And also, I love the club. It should be free. Well, we'll do our best here at Talking Town, whether it's on our socials or the YouTube page, to keep you up to date and in control of all the stuff.
The socials have picked up on Talking Town. I don't know who's in charge of that at the minute because that is on fire.
That would be me.
There you go. Shout out to Gov.
Yeah, let's see how well it goes when the season actually starts.
Well, yeah, true.
And the bullets start firing for real. Let's start with the outs before we go into Omari. Joe Pigott has joined that mutually exclusive club called Mutual FC. Expected?
Look, I think it's been on the cards for a long while. Look, I think I did say on here, how many goals did I predict when he signed that first season?
25.
Look, it's just not worked out for Joe for one reason or another, and it's just football, I suppose. Gubby, I've met him several times. He's a really good guy, Joe Pigott. Let's not say he's not. And obviously, he was at the club when his dad passed away, which was a hard time for him. He was Paul Cook's man. He signed him, and then there's a change of manager when he's not been. No, it's 25, Mike. Come on, it wasn't 27, but it's just not worked out for him. And the way we play under Kieran, I don't think he was ever really going to get a look in, was he? Really, Gov, when you look at it. But I just wish him all the best. He needs to go to Orient now, and obviously bang in a few goals. They've obviously been promoted to League One. He'll know Idris because he's going to be there for another season. I just wish Joe all the best. It just hasn't worked out for him, and it's just football, Gov, at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I said that to an Orient fan on Twitter. I said it's just not worked out for him here. He's a good player at League One level, particularly for teams who aren't expected to dominate a lot of games. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to any team that isn't a top six finisher, but Wimbledon, for example, where he did a lot of his good work. He
done well there in a struggling team, didn't he? At Wimbledon.
Yeah. Yeah. And his style of play never really you felt suited, never got going. Part of a 25, was it 25 in the end? Player transfer window.
Yeah, there was always going to be players, weren't there? When you're that the player turnover is that much, there's always going to be players who it doesn't work out for. He probably suffered, Gov, when Macaulay Bond come in and was absolutely on fire, wasn't he, before Christmas? When we're only ever playing one up front, Macaulay Bond was Cookie just seemed to pick him, but he was firing then, wasn't he? Scoring goals, and then obviously Paul Cook got the sack, and then Kieran's come in, and I don't think Joe featured at all, did he, under Kieran?
Well, if he did, wasn't it very briefly where he got in the way of a shot that was going in, perhaps away?
Oh yeah, Oxford. Yeah, he started at Oxford. Yeah, he did start a few games. Yeah, the game at Oxford away, I was there. Gov knows. But he was never really Kieran's man, and that happens, doesn't it, when new managers come in. There's certain players who'll just have to fall by the wayside, and he obviously had that loan move to Pompey. Yeah. And he didn't really play there much, did he? He done quite well. I think Matt's man, Danny Cowley, did... who did he liken him to? Harry Kane, I think it was, after a game away at Sheffield Wednesday, when he put two lovely crosses in, 2 assists, I think he got in that game. But look, it's not worked out for Joe. We just wish him all the best, and hopefully he goes to I think it's Brisbane Road, their ground. I'm not sure what it's called now. Probably got a sponsor, but hopefully he goes there, Gov, and scores goals and rips it up at League One level.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Paul P. signed back of one good season, always risk for any player. Tom James, welcome in, Tom. Posh of Cut Ties, Radio Cambridge.
Yeah,
meaning all match comes behind a paid subscription. Could be worse.
Yeah, I see that that come out yesterday. It's on. They've got Posh Plus, which is their TV, and they've all commentary now. You have to pay for it, which I think is that is bang out of order. Because if you're any fan of any club at local radio, you know, Martin, it's a godsend for a lot of people. You know, you listen on a Saturday, on a Tuesday. Like my dad. My dad doesn't go. My dad's in his 80s now. Radio Suffolk, he has it on every single time. If he had to pay for it, he probably wouldn't pay for it, and he wouldn't listen. And you're losing out on a lot of people, and you're cutting a lot of people out of football clubs. And it can't continue where you just have to pay. You just, the normal person in the street, you know, you'll price people out in the end. You will.
I think for that particular deal, you're absolutely right, because you're not growing your audience, your new audience, particularly for clubs of that size. You're not growing. You know, Peterborough are obviously a top 10 side, but they're not a huge club, and they're not growing. Then that new families who perhaps tune in or find it or hear it or get excited by it. For me, long term, I don't see it. But I'm not a businessman like Darren McAnthony. I run a podcast. I talk about Ipswich Town, so. We'll see where that goes. But I've got room for one or two people this evening. Link is in the chat. Phil has clicked it, so room for one more if you do want to join and have your say on Joe Pigott or Omari Hutchinson. Very quickly, Sam Morsy last night, before the announcement, was linked. Well, Peter O'Rourke tweeted that it was linked with a host of Saudi Arabian.
Ross wasn't very happy that he'd used his picture.
And I can't blame him. But today, Sam Morsy on TalkSport, I've not heard it, has said it was news to him.
There's an interview. I'll send it to you. It's about 6 minutes with Sam Matterface, and he said is
that free?
He called it. He's always a bit of a loose link because he's obviously played for Egypt. You know, he called it a loose link, and he said about. He never actually said that he wasn't interested, which is the take that I got out of it. Look, the project at Town, and he was talking a lot about that, and I see that, but he never actually said. But would you? You're not going to rule yourself out of when the Saudis are waving the money about, are you? Like they are at the minute.
I was going to make it into sort of my terms. If a new podcasting giant entered the market and said, look, we love what you do with Talking Town, but we feel, for whatever reason, because they're
nice
mad.
To pitch TV?
Well, no. Hey, when it's out, go and check it out. I know it's out on Buzzsprout. But I was going to say, if a new podcasting giant came in and said, we want you to host something to do with Norwich, and we'll pay you not £5 a month, we'll pay you £25 a month.
Oh, you couldn't, could you?
Well, my wife would have to, would say, it's 3-4 times what you're getting at the moment. Like, but I'm trying to put it in my terms, and in Sam's terms. If I'm on
32 in September, Gov. Sam Morsy.
Exactly. Long time retired. That's what every player says. I'm a long time retired.
So he's had another year. That was triggered by promotion, I believe. So he's now got 2 years left because he only had 1 year. Look, the Saudis come waving the cash, say, look, here we go, Sam, we'll give you a 3-year contract. Look, you're set up for life. The amount of money that they're paying players, and in football, there's no loyalty. He can say, really, look, he said the way the fans have taken to him. He's saying all the right things, that you'd expect of somebody like Sam Morsy's stature, and it'd be a big miss, Gov, if he went. Not so much ability-wise on the pitch, because I think you can always replace that, and that's football. People do move on. I think it's like what he brings in the dressing room around the club. It's that culture that he harvests, but because it obviously comes from the top, but leadership. It's hard to get leaders, you can be a captain, but not everyone's a good captain. And I think Sam Morsy's a really good captain, Martin. I think he's obviously leads by example on the pitch, how he plays, but I think he brings a lot more than just his presence on the pitch. That's my opinion.
Agree. €10 from David Bergen. Thank you very much, David. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing really well. Your holiday pictures look absolutely brilliant. Thank you for sending me them. No, I agree with that. Completely and utterly agree with that. Hard to replace a character like Sam. We've got Phil waiting to come in the wings. Before we do, we'll get your thoughts on Omari Hutchinson, 19 years of age, signed on a season-long loan from Chelsea. If you looked at social media, you'd think we'd signed this. Isn't
it great? So we go back to we've talked about it on this so many times. That iconic picture: Hawkins, Cornell, Stephen Ward at the training ground, right? Not that long ago. When you think it like the time scale. Now we've got Fabrizio Romano. I was chatting to someone on Twitter yesterday who did not know who this man was, and I'm like, really? This guy's got like millions and millions of followers. Now, when he's doing the announcement, you are thinking, we're big time. We are getting back in the big time here, Gov. And look, I can't say that I know a lot about him. And I think there's a lot of Town fans. You can, from the clips I've seen, he scored some great goals for the Chelsea sort of 21s, but didn't Louis Barry. This is what I'm saying. Louis Barry, when he came in, he'd been at the Barcelona Academy, Gov. Came to Town, didn't do a lot. So, and I think now he's playing at Salford. I'm not saying Omari Hutchinson is going to be anywhere of this, like, but then we go back to the time under Paul Cook when we signed all them players. So there was always going to be players there who sort of fell by the wayside. But look, he's an exciting signing. And I think a young player now, it's great that a club like Chelsea are trusting Town of one of their, look, he played a couple of games last year in the Premier League, he came on. But looking as a player and your agents looking for a club for you for the season on loan, and you're looking out there and then you see Kieran McKenna, coach of Town, and you think, you listen to the second tier pod, they had him at number one, didn't they, of managers that you'd want in charge of your football club. And to go and work with someone like Kieran for a young player, I think he's only going to improve him. And it says to me, Gov, as well, you've got Kieran obviously came from an academy background. He was at Spurs. He's been at Man United. He'll know all about Omari. You know, he was at Arsenal, Chelsea. He's had a couple of, I think he's been at Chelsea twice. So it's an exciting signing. But we do have to realise he's only a kid. You know, he's 19. This is his first senior football that he's got. Look, a couple of Premier League sub appearances, but this is going to be his first season of of men's football. You know, Saturday, Tuesday. So don't expect too much too soon of him. And for me, he's a bit of a wild card. We don't really know what he's going to bring, but we just got to trust in Mark Ashton, trust in Kieran McKenna. They know what they're doing. They know what he's going to bring to the table, and it's exciting. And the thing is now, where do we go next? Because I still think we are crying out for a central defender, if I'm being honest. And we're 2 weeks, Sunday until the first game, and I think we really that needs to be our next port of call.
Yeah,
I think we've got one space left, haven't we, at the minute in the 25. So
yeah, which leads us on to the sort of questions such as we got coming here from Simon Hudson. In what happens to Edwards? Where does it leave Edwards and Jackson for you, the two sort of players?
Well, he sort of plays more off the right, doesn't he? Because he's left-footed, and they like to have your left footers on the right side. He can play as a 10. He can play across them front positions. But you have to remember, Gov, he did look good on. He did look good. He come from Spurs, didn't he? Anyone looks good on YouTube, Mike. You know, you can look at it as much as you want. Drinnen looks good on YouTube, says Norman Greenwood.
Don't go too far, Norman.
Drinnen's actually at Leyton Orient. So is he going to team up with Joe Pigott up front? But yeah.
The mobile front too.
Well, yeah. But look, I think it's an exciting signing. It is an exciting signing, but it's a little bit of unknown for me. But Edwards, Jackson, but you do have to realise, Gov, we've got 9 subs this season. You're going to have to, so there's going to be 5 who miss out anyway, and one of them will be, well, he doesn't count as he's slicker, or he doesn't count in the squad, nor does Humphreys, do they, because of their age. Omari will, because he's a lone player, I see. He will, even though he's at the 19, he's under the age limit, he will still take a place up. So does it mean someone will get moved on, Gov? Because I think we need probably 2 more. Do we sign another striker? Don't know. But like you say, with the question marks with a striker is who's really going to want to come in and be like a third choice, unless the only thing I can see if we sign another striker is, and I know Mike D's not, I spoke to Mike earlier, he's a little bit on the fence with Hurst and Ladapo being good enough. If we bring in another striker, I think it'll be an upgrade on the Ladapo, if I'm honest. I don't see another one coming in and making a 3 because, like you say, it's who you're going to attract. If it's another player coming in, I could see it being a young lone striker, from a Premier League club. Yeah, and I think we probably need better than that at the minute. I think there's still room for that big signing, I think. And I think you think that as well, don't you?
I really do. Yeah, I see Hutchinson's arrival, in the same way I saw John Jules' arrival last season, a young player, very raw, will have the ups, will have the downs, but he's versatile. He can play right, he can play behind the striker, he can play left, he can do a manner of different things with pace, and pace really hurts people. And I obviously talked to a Wednesday fan who's my brother, and he's crying out for pace to be injected into the
They
side.
I listened to the Wednesday podcast and they're on about that. They're such an old.
Troy Deeney.
Have they actually signed him? Have they signed him? They were linked with him. The thing is, look, we were all thinking, oh, come on, Town, we need some more signings. They've literally signed, I think, Reece James, who was there last season. They've literally signed nobody Wednesday. I mean, look, even Plymouth today, great signing, Barley Mumba gone back there. Morgan Whittaker. Sheffield Wednesday, big club. They're going to get left behind if they're not careful here, Gov. What a shame that would be.
Oh, my heart would just break into 1,000 little pieces. Lewis Robinson, it's travesty they got there. Badly in the right side as the defender, wing back as well as a left centre back. Love JD, but same as Burgess. League, Mike's in the chat. Be careful with the Burgess talk. League One, their ceiling, and Fridge can't keep fit. Very quickly, before we bring Phil in to have his say, and then we'll bring Tom James in after Phil. Great to see you, Tom. Raksaki, does this signing spell the end of the pursuit for the Crystal Palace?
I would think so. I know Richard Charner says he was the one that they wanted, and it was sort of agreed that he was going to come in. But then they've obviously had, I think, is it Elise got injured for the 21s? You got Will Sahar. I don't think he's re-signed. So I think he maybe stay at Palace now, because if you bring Raksaki in, Gov, it's like you've got two players that can play in the same position on that right-hand side. So I don't really see him bringing him in now, which is a shame, because he had a really good season at Charlton, and you probably know a little bit more what you're going to get with him. Whereas Omari, like you say, he's raw, but he's got the tools. He's got Kieran to work with, and let's just see where we can go with him. Look, I'm excited. I think we should be excited to see what he can achieve, but don't put too much pressure on him too soon. I've seen people saying he'll be playing at Sunderland on the first day of the season instead of Wes Burns.
But that's top six bias, isn't it? That's top six bias coming in, where you've got a player from Chelsea. Oh, he must be really good. Like signing Lee Martin from Man United. Like, oh, he must be great. Like, is that league? Is that top six? Oh, he must be really good.
I see a lot of Chelsea fans and that saying, "What is he going to Ipswich?" Clearly, not got a clue. Sitting in that bubble of them big teams in the Premier League and never seen a Championship or League One game in their life, and they really haven't got a clue, some fans.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, on the old Gov needle, he doesn't move it. He might contribute next year, but he doesn't move the needle the way Broadhead Hurst did for us back end of last year.
Would Raksaki move the needle if you'd have signed him?
He certainly nudges it a little bit. Yeah. He certainly, does more damage to moving it than an unproven raw player.
Oh,
he's a bad player at this stage, but
until we see him play, it's really hard to judge. Whereas Raksaki, he's got a little bit of a body of work, Gov, from playing League One last season. Obviously got Charlton's Player of the Year. But listen, we just wish him all the best and hope that he rips it up when he gets on. And but like you say, you've got that pace. That gives him a little bit of a chance. And he's very, very left-footed if you look at the clips on YouTube. But there you go, Roy Clark. He's got pace, and defenders hate that. So let's see what he can bring.
All right, you got Pigott, you got Morsy, you've got Hutchinson, Phil. You got three things to choose from there. Choose one, my man. What are you thinking tonight?
Well, I've seen the YouTube videos that Richard has just mentioned. That YouTube makes football players so much better than they actually are sometimes. So it's difficult to say. But given his age, he's only 19, so he's really quite young. He's still learning and developing. When I first saw what he could do, I was thinking, he's going to be more of an impact player probably off the bench. And I think with the formation that McKenna's got in mind for this season, I think he's going with a 3-2-4-1 formation. So if he was going to be starting on a regular basis, where would he start? Would he start maybe left side of midfield, or would he start instead of Burns, for example? I mean, I wouldn't know what his starting position would be. Would you even play him up front? I wouldn't have thought he's a number 9, but he's got the pace there, so who knows?
We'll probably see him, Phil, the first time I reckon it'll probably be the Bristol Rovers game. I reckon we'll probably see him. He'll be on the bench at Sunderland. He might come off the bench, but I'd expect him to start that game at Portman Road against Bristol Rovers. Gov won't be there because obviously it's your wedding anniversary tonight. If you want to come and sit with us, Phil, anyone wants to come and sit with us, we're doing a Talking Town sit together. So if you want to get involved in that, let me know. Matt Stannard will be doing the tickets. So
absolutely, yeah. Sure.
Did you just say he'll be on the bench at Sunderland?
Yes.
Me and my mum will be on the bloody bench at Sunderland. There's that many subs.
Who's missing out then? Who's not been on the bench? Will Sonny Aluko make the bench?
I'll go on a limb and say no. Phil?
I haven't got a clue, mate. I mean, I was looking forward to Raksaki, but like you've just mentioned that I heard. I think it was. I thought it was Eze that got injured. I thought he picked up some kind of Achilles injury.
Somebody certainly did, but
somebody did, and obviously Zaha looks like he's probably moving to this Middle East somewhere. Never know where he's going to end up, but it's.
So if Phil disappears and we don't see Phil again on Talking Town, has he been captured by the Saudis and offered massive money to go and appear on
Talking
have you seen, Phil? Have you seen quickly talking to Saudi League? Has everyone out there seen the Steven Gerrard video?
No,
when he's in training and he's trying to get obviously there's a little bit of a problem, Phil, with the language barrier. Steven Gerrard, Scouse. Yeah. And he's doing all this, putting the ball down, and he go.
It's up there with Tony Adams.
I've not seen it. I'll check it out. He's after Tony Adams, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
He's going to be,
where are we short before I bring Tom in and let you go? Where
you've already said it.
Next?
I mean, say central defender for me, but I just quickly want to mention about the Morsy thing. I heard
one more thing.
I heard what he said on the TalkSport 6 minutes, like Rich mentioned, that he's happy in Suffolk. He's looking forward to the new season. It looks like that the new players that have come into the club that are gelling pretty well with the group. He's our captain, our leader, our inspiration, and when the chips are down, he's the one we all want to see pick the team up and go again. So I'm absolutely happy that he's said that publicly on the radio there. So looking forward to next season, obviously, and we're probably just one player short of a really, really good championship squad now. I think definitely.
Well, question for Phil: are you going to Sunderland?
No, I'm not. I changed. Look, about 3 hours ago, I was thinking about it. Right, I checked my latest credit card statement, and I'm in between jobs at the moment, which is tough. And I've actually spent more than I realised. Actually, quite a bit more than I realised. So I'm having to make 1 or 2 cutbacks. So as much as I really want to go, and it's going.
There's another thing: £32 for Sunderland go away.
I'm saying the coach travels even more, isn't it? It's £41 for.
Yeah, I'd say probably in the 40s, Phil. If I'm speculating,
and I don't think I'm allowed to buy a ticket until Thursday because I've only got I think 15 or 16.
Yeah,
points.
they're going to sell Monday for everyone who's looking for a ticket. 30+ points to start with. Gov, how many you got?
Big fat 0.
Have you not bought a membership? You don't want a membership to get them extra.
I got 5.
Wow, which I think is absolutely pointless because everyone gets 5 points for getting a membership. Makes no difference whatsoever.
No, I mean, if you're going to do that, we've done this one. But Phil, we appreciate you coming on, my man. Look after yourself. We'll bring Tom in. Tom, you mentioned the BBC Cambridgeshire deal. Start with that one. What are your thoughts on that?
I've got a question for Tom before he starts.
Go on.
What were you doing on the hallowed turf of Lords?
It's for work. So, there's stuff going on at the minute with work. So
did you go in the long room? Did you go through the long room, Tom?
No, I didn't go inside any of the rooms. I went around.
Good, because you might get some angry old men shouting at you like when the Aussies were there the other week.
Oh yeah, I saw all of that. But I think it's going to be 2-2, isn't it, soon? So
fingers crossed. Hope the weather stays.
No, it's good. Lords is lovely. I've never been to a cricket match in my life, but I was there for a photo shoot.
We need to get a Talking Town cricket match next year, Gov, in the diary. You're on mute.
It's the microphone. True. I just said true. I just said true. It's nothing special. Tom, BBC Cambridgeshire, very quickly. What are your thoughts on that deal before we get to the rest of the matter?
Yeah, it's gone down like a lead balloon from people I know in Peterborough, and just reading on Twitter. It's like my mates are saying, it's just basically alienating the older generation of people who aren't as tech savvy, they're not going to go online, pay £6 a month to listen to it. And yeah, it's that whole thing. It's like, we'd still listen to it on Radio Suffolk if you've got access to it. And it's just an easy way to do it. And they've really cut the nose off, I think. I think McAntony is going to come out with something in a couple of days, judging by his Twitter. So we might hear an update on that. Who knows? But yeah, it's gone down very bad. And yeah, I'm not a massive advocate for the approach they've done so far. But they've got time to rectify it if they choose to. But we'll see, won't we?
I agree. And what about Town's approach? Obviously, Omari HUTCHINSON through the door. He joins one of 3 other signings. What are your thoughts on the Chelsea player?
Yeah, he seems quite exciting. I've never heard of him until a few days ago, so I can't say I'm an expert on him. And just seeing his clips, we have to remember it's his first senior season. So we talked about Raksaki. Yeah, he's probably a more ready to go option, but he's got to start somewhere, and he's under McKenna. So if he's good enough for him, he's good enough for me as it stands. It's not signing a Louis Barry under, I don't know, who was it? Lambert? Cook? One of them, probably Cook, because he signed about 20 odd players. So yeah, we're not getting a kid out of a Premier League with little experience who's signing under a manager in a load of chaos. It's a tight-knit group, and I think the judge character is going to be quite important. So yeah, I'm fine with it. He looks quite exciting, fills a couple of spaces for us, like Raksaki would have done left and right side. And apparently Hutchinson could play in the 10 as well to give Chaplin a bit of support. So yeah, sounds all right. Sounds
Absolutely.
good.
Where are we short then, Phil? We've heard, Tom, sorry, we've heard about the centre-half position being an area away from there. Is there anywhere else you're looking at the squad and you're thinking, yeah, could do with a body or two or a bit of quality in that position?
Well, thankfully it's not centre mid, judging by Morsy's update. But yeah, it's got to be centre back, hasn't it? We need an experienced head. I think you can't judge too much by the Preston game, but we look all over the shop when we were changing it around a little bit, and there's just not enough back there, is there? And we can't rely on injury-ridden players. So yeah, I wasn't entirely against Cathcart as an option, to be honest. He's 34, but we need a head back there, I think, going up to the Championship. It works for League One, having a bit of a younger side and that balance of experience up the pitch. But I think just a little bit further back, we need that. It might not be Cathcart, but someone in that mould who's got experience, can pass it a bit. I'm on board for that.
Have we already got one in the building, Gov?
What, Disco Dom?
Dominic Cafu Ball. Did you see that little movie done down the right-hand side against Preston? You know, look, he's played there before. I don't think we're going to see him playing there to start with, but he gives you that option. If you get injuries, he can just fill in. You might see him there against Bristol Rovers, Gov, like you might see sort of Hutchinson starting. So, yeah, we desperately do need. I agree with Tom. We need spend a bit of money. It could be Trusty, you know, from Arsenal. They might go for him. He's obviously played in this division at Birmingham last year, but we've got the money to spend. I'd spend a little bit on a decent centre half, Martin, if I'm honest. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. Tom, is there one last thing from you before you go, or have you had your say?
That's about it. Not seen you in about 3 months, so yeah, you're doing all right. You're good.
I'm doing all right. Thank you very much. Yes, yeah. I'm doing great. Nice to hear from you, and thanks for coming on this evening. I really appreciate it.
That's all right. I'll catch you soon. All right.
Good
see you
man.
later.
See you later, mate.
Lewis says, I'm very happy that you've got Omari as a Chelsea fan as well as a Town fan. Played a few Premier League games last season, and he's quite good. There we go.
Yes,
Suffolk Spider says 1 striker, 1 defender. Anything else from you? One last thing from you, Rich, or is there nothing?
Obviously, friendlies tomorrow and off to Stevenage tomorrow. Not doing the Cambridge game because I'm working, but I'll be heading down to Stevenage to have a look. It's good, isn't it? I think it's quite a good thing that we've got 2 games, because if you just have the one game, Gov, with the squad we've got, you know, they're going to have to sort of split 45 each, but you get more minutes this way having 2 games, and I'm hoping that Jack Taylor plays at Stevenage tomorrow. I'd like to see him and see what he brings, and I want to have a little word with him and show him my Darren Curry little video that I got and see what he makes of that. But yeah, look, it's exciting now. We're getting 2 weeks away from start the season. You're going to, I think, Colchester on Wednesday, aren't you, against Luton? I think that's sold out.
Yeah.
Biggest crowd at Colchester this season. So we're helping out that little team
any season
down the road who try and make a rivalry with us when there's no rivalry there, really. But yeah, it's
like Cambridge.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's nice to play Cambridge in a friendly now and not in an actual competitive game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the real reason why I'm not doing Bristol Rovers. I just don't want to see Bristol Rovers after 4 years of seeing them get lost.
Well,
I don't want to know.
Well, anyway, 2 weeks to go, and it's building up now, isn't it? We're nearly there. Don't you think it's come around so quick?
It has when you get involved with the cricket. Yeah, if you've got no sport in your life, then it can feel a bit, a bit lonely, a bit.
I'm interested to see if you're still on board with the cricket next summer when we're playing West Indies and Sri Lanka. You're probably not going to be that invested then, are you?
Oh no! And once the Ashes goes to more prime time for Australia, I'll be not.
Let's hope tomorrow. Like I know we're getting onto cricket. Let's hope tomorrow's a washout. I think we're going to be very lucky. Let's hope it deserves to go to 2-2 and go to the Oval and have a great finish. But
well,
anyway,
there we go. Join us, not us. Join him and the rest of the team Sunday night for Talking Cricket. We'll preview that. This has been Talking Town, transfer talk where Town have signed Omari Hutchinson until Sunday 7:45.
Hutchinson, not Hudson.
Hudson, I got it wrong already. Oh, don't start me about surnames. There we go. But no, see you Sunday at 7:45. With love, we care. That's the cruncher. I'm the guy.
All the best.
All the best.